The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv, and we got a huge breaking story. But first, should we talk about Jasiel?
I think we should talk about the city council president first.
Okay. Well, all righty. Go ahead. You start because I'm just finishing up the article.
According to reports by the Herald News, the Westport police sought a search warrant on the cell phones of City Council President Pam Laliberte-Lebeau. According to reports, complaints have been filed that a couple or a Westport resident have been getting annoying, harassing phone calls from different phone numbers. The Westport police got involved and contacted the company that does those numbers, obviously through various situations, and I guess the company name was Ad Hoc or Adlock or something along that line. And they gave the Westport police the number attached to that spoofing app. And that number was a burner phone. It wasn't Pam's original phone. They went to Judge Finnerty and got a search warrant, went to her home on New Boston Road, where she freely released the cell phones for the police department to download them and do a forensic investigation into the cell phone. Already, people are calling for the resignation of Councilor Lebeau, and personally, I know she's entitled to due process, but appearances can be very deceiving. And this is why I think people are asking for her resignation. And her resignation may come, may not. It depends on what she wants to do. But we'll see what the investigation by the Westport Police holds.
Well, yeah, I'm just reading this, and I'm pretty good. I've got pretty good reading comprehension. But this liberty at stake in boldface and missing 4 of a police logs, I don't know whether that's part of it.
No, that's not part of the story.
Yeah, I know. It's so... But then it goes back to her. It's kind of like they stuck that in the middle of this thing, which is really, really weird. Maybe Joe Good was half asleep at night. But look, and I know there have already been calls for her to resign, step down. But listen, I keep saying this: whether I like someone or dislike someone, they are entitled to due process. She has not been convicted of anything. They came from her phone. Okay, they've determined that, but we don't know the full story, and she has to get her day in court if she wants it, as you said, if she wants it. I don't believe that that's a personal decision for her to make, whether she wants to just leave the council, period, over this, but I don't know. And I'm not going to use the Fall River double negative. I'm going to say regardless, not irregardless. And regardless, whether she steps down or not, it's going to be a newsworthy item no matter what. Because when it's disposed of and all the facts come out, it's still going to be in the newspaper because of her, even if she left, because of her former position as a counselor.
The interesting part about this is, will this put her real estate license on the line? Because if she's convicted, I think that they can hold that against her. And I don't know if a misdemeanor qualifies or if this is a felony that they're going after, what they're going to go, because no charges have been filed yet. Let's make this very clear. No charges have been filed yet. But could this jeopardize her employment outside of the city council?
I would probably say yes, because obviously, when you're dealing with the public and stuff, and it's been a long time since I dealt with, when I was on a GI Bill, killing time for courses, I took a real estate course, which qualified me to go get a license at the time, but I never did. And I knew all of the rules and regulations, but that was decades ago. So I don't know what the rules are, but I think character is one of the things they're going to look at. And if you, but as you said, I'm not sure misdemeanor, felony,
Right.
But look, it doesn't look good, harassment, and all this other stuff. But then again, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I just think of it as an analytical evaluation. Why? This is almost like Trumpian. Again, we were talking the other day about Trump having the right to the same equal justice as Eric Holder, as Obama's got 33 million pages, and he still has them, and he hasn't been president in 6 years?
Right.
So he's still got 33 million pages of documents. Now, this is an obvious attempt to politically assassinate someone, and I don't believe this is the case, but it's kind of like, look, infringement, they just come in, but obviously there's probably substantiation, but then again, they're entitled to due process and equal protection under the law and equal justice under the law. So I think what they're doing is right. They haven't filed any charges. They've downloaded the phone. They're following the process. And, I don't think there's a lot to say about this right now. I think that the calls of this are premature, because the people who are calling for her resignation, if we find out this is much to do about nothing, what are they going to do? They're going to say, well, we shouldn't have asked her to resign. Let her, as an individual, make her own. That's my opinion, obviously. Let her make her own personal decisions, but let her have her day in court, like any of us would want.
Well, I agree, but again, in politics, it's not about the facts; it's about the appearance.
Because if I was a really crazy conspiracy theorist, I would say they're really pushing this, plastering it all over, because maybe they don't want her as president, and they have someone in mind.
Well, there are already the conspiracy rumors going around, which we try not to get into too much. But questions are, if she does resign, who becomes the president? I think that's Michelle Dion, but I'm not positive.
I would hope so, because that's normally what happens. You got a vice president when the president
assumes the
responsibilities.
Exactly.
And I don't know if they have anything about length of term, et cetera, like that. But those things are done yearly.
Right.
So realistically, we're more than halfway through the year. It would not make sense to have an election for
at this
president.
Point. Right. Exactly.
And you know something, I think, based on all the research and work she's done to protect the taxpayers and her work ethic, I think Michelle would make a great president. I'm not sure if she wants it, but she may get it whether she wants it or not. But the reality is, getting back to the present council president, she has the right to due process, and she has the right to make her own decisions. And look, this is just a preliminary thing. It's very, very sketchy. But that little dangling participle we had in there about the drugs, that again, another disturbing.
No. That's a link to another story.
Yeah,
that's
but I'm saying, but that's the
I
one
just
about
don't like it being put there.
Yeah, because you're reading something in its context, and you got something stuck in the middle. That's really not good. That's not good journalism, because you go, what the hell is this thing?
Exactly.
And it's like, but what is it about? It's about the drugs in a drawer.
Right.
Again, the police department.
Right.
When we've just talked about that again, and what was in the newspaper again yesterday? $65,000 lawsuit settled.
Yes, I noticed
again.
That. I was going to talk about that in a little bit.
Again. So we might as well just segue into that now, because, listen, I'm waiting for someone, hopefully the new president, to demand, not ask for, demand an accounting of every single lawsuit that has been settled by the city of Fall River in the past 3 or 4 years. The taxpayers and the council have a right to know how much money we're blowing on these things by our mayor not holding anybody accountable for anything, any department head. The reality is that how many suits? What's happened with the Malone suits? What's happened with all the other lawsuits we have pending? How much money have we spent? And how much money have we spent on legal fees? Because I don't believe that in most of these cases that are going to go into real litigation that our law department ever touches them.
Right.
They farm them out.
Right.
So how many millions, and I'm not saying thousands because I think it's in the millions.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this settlement of $65,000, that's chump change.
Of course it is.
That's chump change. And honestly, historically, in Fall River, whether it be a personal injury case or a case against the police department, they settle lowballed. And the reason for that is the people of Fall River, the citizens of Bristol County, don't think you think $10,000 is a lot of money. You think $65,000 is a lot of money. It's not. Today, that's not a lot of money. And if this case was filed in Boston, in Suffolk County, that wouldn't have been a $65,000 settlement. That would have been a $6.5 million settlement.
It would have been a big, big settlement.
That's right.
Yeah.
But in Bristol County, we're cheap.
Yep.
And that's why we're looked upon as cheap.
And lawyers, especially from insurance companies and stuff, love to litigate in Bristol County.
They do.
Because they get away really cheap. I experienced that when I injured this wrist, and I've had 6 surgeries on this wrist, job-related injury at an incident. And this wrist, I'm permanently disabled, actually. I have no feeling in the backs of these 3 fingers, and sometimes I drop things and stuff like that. And I could have got off on a disability, but I didn't. I'm probably the only idiot in the world that didn't take a disability. Based on now that they got 87,000 tax agents now, IRS agents, I wouldn't have had to pay federal income tax.
Right.
If I got off. But I said, no, I had the time. I took the regular pension. But when I went for this injury, and I went to court because it was caused by negligence of a property owner, that's what the insurance company said. And I talked to my friend Neil Rossman. He said, this would have got you a couple of million in Boston. He said, because, you got injured, in a line of duty, and they respect firefighters and police officers. You would have got 2-3 million. Said, down there, you're going to get crap. And basically because they think, $10,000, $20,000 is a lot of money, and it's true. And that's the first thing the insurance company did. When we went in to arbitrate it first, they tried to settle it first without going to court.
Right.
They mediated. I'm sorry, not arbitrate. He mediated. So they went in, and the lawyer I had, and I didn't have Neil because I wasn't going to pay him. I'd get 0 for a settlement. But he was a decent lawyer from Taunton, and he said, listen, don't panic. He said, they're going to come in here would offer you $5,000. He said, because that's what they do. But when we sat down with the mediator and they presented the case, we presented our case, that I was injured in the line of duty. I had all kinds of accident report, I had all kinds of witnesses because we had an entire task force there. Mm-hmm. We had the records of the alarm, etc. Went through it all, and then they went to the insurance company and they said, we'll stipulate to everything. We agree. You're right. He said, because the owners of the property said that never happened. They didn't realize that we actually keep records. So they said, they looked right at me and said, you're not going to get anything from a jury because they in Bristol County, and so you better settle here. And we ended up settling because it's a total waste of time. But this is the problem. They're lucky, 65. That's why they do this. But it's $65,000 out of the taxpayers' money.
That's right.
And how much for the lawyer? Maybe they settle this with our own lawyers because, like you said, people in Fall River have $65,000. But remember, the lawyer gets a cut of that too.
That's right.
So, and a big cut.
Right, because if you settlement, a judge isn't ordering that the city pay the legal fees.
That's right. And the reality is then when you get a settlement like that, if there are any medical expenses, that comes out of the settlement
Exactly.
too. So by the time you get done, you're cutting this pie up like 3 ways.
That's right.
So you're getting like a third of it. So,
and remember, if you are also on a state or federal health plan, they get their money back.
That's right, they do.
They get their money back. And Medicare is notorious for coming back, and they charge you for everything.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't an accident involved or anything, they charge you for everything. And then it's up to you to go and nitpick the bill and say, no, this was regular health care, this was regular health care.
But again, we look at that and we see the link that's still going on. When did this drugs in a drawer? What is that, 2 months ago already?
3 months, yeah.
3 months ago?
Yeah.
And has our illustrious mayor ever said a word about anything? No.
No, he has not.
You know, has he said anything about the ATVs, that we have the most stringent laws in the country, but we don't enforce them? Has he said anything about anything that affects the quality of life, not of the children that go to the movies and get the sandwiches and go watch the parade, but for the average person who's living paycheck to paycheck, who has to drive in his car and get terrorized by these lawbreakers?
I was listening to him till 2 o'clock this morning.
You know, and this is outrageous. It's outrageous. We have a non-functioning mayor.
Paulie do nothing.
Yeah. All he's good for is cutting ribbons and being ceremonial. And where is the irony in that? But here's another issue. Why don't we know? We don't know anything about what Malone really did. You know, we got that redacted stuff. How about his suits? They're federal, some of them. ADA violations and stuff. Those are federal. You're talking serious money with these lawsuits. And how about that other, I was thinking about it the other night. How about that other individual that they fired from the school department because they didn't like her Facebook page? Well, she got a job back.
That's right.
All her money. Mm-hmm. So how much did that cost?
Right.
Over the long run. They're going to pay her for not working because they just unilaterally violated her First Amendment rights. Again, as he did not too long ago.
As he did on Monday.
As he did on Monday, exactly. So, but I want to know. Have we settled any of the lawsuits against Malone? Nobody will ever know. That's what they do in a school department. They file it, push it away, and say, they'll never ask. Nobody will know. We don't care. So forget about our budget. How much have we spent on things that are not in the budget, like lawsuit settlements? How many lawsuits have we had? How many lawsuits have we settled? How much has it cost? How many times have we hired outside companies to litigate it, which is most of the time, because if it requires more than, 8th grade level litigation, they farm it out. So the reality is, this is a real problem, because here comes your Durfee add-on, your Diamond add-on is coming, and all these jobs are being created. We're paying for everything, and in the interim, behind the scenes, behind the Wizard of Oz curtain, we have all these tons and tons of lawsuits. Aren't there a couple of other lawsuits?
Oh, yeah.
Pending the police, that the shooting on, that's never been settled.
That hasn't been settled yet.
And that's a big one.
Right.
And there are a few. And
there's also the one for the Harlan case.
Yeah.
The one on whatever, down in the South End.
Yeah.
Where the DA found them, it was a justified shooting, and, the family wants the reports, they want to know everything. And that's another suit that could be coming down the line.
And there's another situation where we're paying money. Our taxpayer money is paying for all this litigation, all this preparation, all this stuff for these lawsuits, because no matter what the DA says, there'll be a civil suit. There's going to be a civil suit on this.
That's right.
There's going to be all kinds of requests and stuff. But like I said, all we're looking for is something that you ran on, but you never ever lived up to, among virtually everything you promised: transparency. All we're asking for. It's the people's money, Paul. Why can't you tell us how much of our money you're spending? We shouldn't have to ask you. We shouldn't have to ask you. But we know asking is a waste of time, because we asked a whole bunch of questions about Malone and we never found out.
Exactly.
And we'll never find out about anything.
Right. And it's a shame that it's come to that, though, in the city. So, next case. We're going back to apps. It's not Jasiel this time. It's his wife. And she's in cahoots, or partnering with, Jasiel's former partner in another app, not Snow Owl app, in a different app. And
What is this one, Mud Owl?
no, this one they're calling, let me see, see they hide so much of this, Vibes, it Vibes or something like that. Well, it's a Vibe. It's a Vibe. That's the name of the app.
Oh.
It's going to be an app. It looks like it's going to be an Apple-only app again. And they predict they're going to have this in the Apple Store this fall. And this app does the same thing that Snow Owl supposedly did.
Oh, so.
Now, let's be realistic. I know that Jenny does not have a criminal record for defrauding people.
Yet.
Yet. But guilt by association sometimes? I mean, I hate to say that, but this is the case. Sometimes it's guilt by association. And what do? I mean, we know that she's accustomed, because of her family, not because of Jasiel, to living a rather
Opulent.
well, it's not even opulent. I would say comfortable lifestyle.
All right.
Okay.
We all go to opulent. We can't take that next level. Okay.
Right. I would say comfortable lifestyle. I mean, she comes from a family that comes from restaurateurs. They had restaurants on Columbia Street. Then they had the townhouse. As I found out, and according to the Herald News article, they're still partners in the townhouse restaurant. But she has her own jewelry business upstairs from the restaurant. So obviously she's not hurting for money, unless she is hurting for money. But what's scary is that this is coming up again.
Yeah, it's like, it's like Yogi Berra said, deja vu all over again.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like, number one, the app wasn't very successful in the first place.
Correct.
You're gonna reinvent it like they do on the federal government now. We redefine the word, recession. We can't call it a raid. It's the execution of a warrant, blah, 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 blah. They try, as Orwell once said, the society is doomed when they control the language, and that's what they're trying to do. But I mean, it doesn't seem like, in the middle of a recession, I mean, you can call it anything you want. People are living paycheck to paycheck. One thing even the feds can't argue about when they're trying to semantic everything away with these word games, is that people are living paycheck to paycheck. Not a good time to have a Vibe, app out there. People are not vibing too much. Everybody's getting, everybody's cutting back on everything. And yeah, the gas prices have gone down a little bit. They're still higher, but they will go up drastically after the midterms. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I know that yesterday it was announced that one or two of the oil refineries in Louisiana had to shut down because they had an oil leak. They said it didn't hurt
the environment,
but an oil leak in the environment is hurting the environment. They said they're hoping and they're predicting that that refinery will be up and running again today. But remember, if not, gas prices go up.
But they have already predicted that it's going to go up after the new year anyway.
Right.
They just said this is a temporary because of the midterms.
Of
they're going
course.
to con everybody. And well, look what we did. But to circle back to that restaurateur, you used that word. I saw when I was trying to find that article this morning in a hurry about the council president. I saw a little blurb. I didn't have time to read the article about a Fall River restaurateur who was thinking about purchasing the old grist mill.
Yes.
In Seekonk. Do you happen to know which restaurateur that is?
I don't remember his name now, but he used to own what restaurant did he own in Fall River? He's from Fall River.
Oh.
The guy is from Fall River, or was from Fall River. And
yeah.
he wants to buy the old grist mill, and he's there actually running it right now. He's the manager of it, or managing partner, or whatever they want to call it. He's there running it to bring the restaurant up to what he's looking for. And they're saying that there won't be any changes in the menu or anything like that, but the owner currently wants to retire. The current owner of the grist mill also owns the wharf in Warren, Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Is that what
the
it's-
wharf. Yeah.
The wharf. So I don't know if he's buying that as well, but it would be
Wharf
interesting.
Tavern. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be
that's
interesting to
on
see.
Well, it is, and I mean, actually, I always liked the old grist mill.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very nice restaurant. It's kind of a really quiet, got a nice ambiance.
I like the old ambiance, not before the fire.
Yeah, before the fire, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Now. It's pretty close, but it was always a place you could, it wasn't super upscale, but it wasn't like a pizza joint. It was, you could go there and have a nice meal. They had a decent menu. They had a nice little salad bar, and it's quiet and
Right.
and it was always a nice restaurant.
I always thought the location was a little weird. All I could picture was a truck driving right.
Hey, I remember the old days when they used to have original Rhode Island Johnny cakes.
Yeah.
Who can remember that? Not very many. They don't even. Most people don't even know what a Johnny cake is. But
Right.
but the grist mill was famous for having something that's almost from the Revolutionary War, for God's
Right,
sakes.
right.
Rhode Island Johnny cakes. But we get back to, unfortunately, the city, a city that lives behind a curtain, and it's in total chaos. The city is falling down around us. ATVs terrorizing the streets. We have nobody knows how many of these cases are going to get thrown out. Nobody knows anything about anything. All we know is nothing seems to be firing on all cylinders, and our mayor is just walking around with his hands in his pocket and his head God knows where.
Yep. In the last couple of minutes, Ken Fiola went before the planning board to have a couple of mills moved out of the zoning they're in into
Yeah.
residential type zoning, I guess.
And he
or
got it.
apartment zoning, whatever it is. And I had a conversation with the city councilor about this. And all of them, approved it. They approved the zoning change. Now it goes to the city council for the city council to approve the zoning change and so on and so forth. The thing is that the city council said nobody has the backbone, that's not the words that were used, to stand up and say no. They just roll over for him. And that's what we have representing us, people who roll over for Ken Fiola and for the mayor's development
And
friends.
he gets a cut of every single
That's the thing
he-
people don't
I would
understand.
love to see how much money he is making now. And
Exactly.
we're going to bring more market rate housing to city again. He's going to build
In the South End.
in the South End, which is the most heavily populated area and has all kinds of apartments. And you think people from Boston are going to move here by the hundreds of thousands? You're insane. But they're all making money, and they don't care because they're getting their cut. The reality is the council should have the courage to say enough is enough. We need affordable housing in this city, but they won't. Maybe one councilor will, but the rest of them won't, because it's just like, and you got to give Fiola credit. He knows how to put them in a box. It's
That's
like
right.
you're voting against Mom. Oh, look, we're going to develop something. We may bring people into Fall River. Yeah, horse manure. They've been doing this for a long time. This is another scam by the cabal. They got a stranglehold on this city. Kenny Fiola is he is a god now.
He's
a
like
guy
the Godfather.
the Godfather. Yeah. Remember when he was on his own and couldn't manipulate the city. He was going bankrupt.
That's right. That's right.
When he got back in, he took off like a rocket ship.
That's
He's
right.
up in the stratosphere now, baby. There's no holding him back because he's with the rest of the Richies.
That's it. That's it. And, it just doesn't get any easier. So, again, we'll see what the city council does. But I want to know who the developer is on this property. And remember, Ken Fiola takes a cut on everything. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you for watching. I want you all to have a very nice weekend. It's supposed to be very nice, very cool, no humidity.
Beautiful day.
In the 70s and 80s, so it should be good to have a good weekend. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Monday.